here at Max's with David Belasco. David, thanks for joining us today.
My pleasure.
David, it's interesting, as one of the major philanthropists in the jazz area, what you've been doing is so important to kids and to musicians all over the world. First, I want to say thanks so much for all your work and all you're doing. I guess the big question is why?
Well, it's a pleasure to do it, and thanks for the kind words. We're doing as much as we can, but I think the why is because we can, and you know, it's important in our family that you know, everybody deserves a shot at a good education. It shouldn't matter where you're from or who your parents are. Everyone deserves that shot. And so when we decided to do a concert, a charity concert about music in Rochester, it was only natural that we involved Eastman.
And the series is called?
Jazz on the Pond. It's, by series you mean once a year concert.
Once a year, correct.
Yeah.
And what was the genesis of Jazz on the Pond?
Jazz on the Pond started as a way to reconnect with old friends from high school and grammar school. So we started out 6 years ago with just a local, very good band called the Mambo Kings that
right.
you know, on our back deck with speakers on the sticks. It was very small, maybe 150 people. And then the following year, we said, do you think we could bring some of our friends and people that we know in music from Los Angeles, where my sister and I live, back to our hometown and see if we could build it. And at that point, we said we have to raise money for somebody. And like I said, it was a natural. We cold called the Eastman School and spoke to the dean of Eastman, Doug Lowry, and a partnership was born.
Beautiful. David, that said, now fast forward how many years?
So this is our 5th year of Jazz on the Pond. 6th year with the Mambo Kings was the 1st year.
Yeah, and this year is coming.
This year, it's almost unreal to think that John Legend is playing in our backyard. But it's a 3-set concert all day, 6 hours. We feed you, we give you alcohol, and it opens up with the Eastman students, a student group called Bitchin' Kitchen, which is a 13-member soul band. And then our second act is contemporary jazz. It's my favorite player in the world, Everett Harp, plays saxophone. And then actually an Eastman alum named Rick Braun, who's one of the best-selling contemporary jazz artists, playing trumpet. They're playing a combined set. And then to end the night, John Legend is playing an acoustic set, solo on the piano.
It's amazing. So in past years, you've had Philip Bailey from Earth, Wind & Fire, you have had Shaka Khan, Jeffrey Osborne from LTD.
Yeah.
How do you get these folks to come and play in the backyard?
Well, typically it's through another relationship or an introduction where one of the musicians says, like Everett says, you know, I played with Philip recently. We thought we could put this together. I played with Jeffrey Osborne, so that's been a help. Shaka was through an introduction, but this year was a Rochester connection, believe it or not. A good friend of mine in Los Angeles, who's from Gates, of all places,
really?
At his engagement party, he introduced me to his friend, and he happened to be John Legend's manager. And I just looked at him and said, we'll be talking. And we applied through his charitable foundation called the Show Me Campaign.
Okay.
And we got online, and we got in the right pile, and it was a long process to get done, and because we're not the highest paying gig, we're a small charity in Rochester, we can't pay what John Legend normally commands, but he's doing it at a very, very generous rate.
That's wonderful. Rochester has always been historically known as a place for great philanthropy, starting with George Eastman, Bosch and Lam, the whole, classic old money Rochester, but again, that tradition now is with the Belasco family. So again, David, what can folks do? Let's say, I want to help out with the artists. Let's say I want to be a jazz angel. I want to do it either anonymously or not anonymously. What can they do? How can they reach out?
Well, there's so many good organizations out there, and we don't pretend to be an expert in, you know, to be mentioned with George Eastman's and the Bosch and Lams come out. We're doing what we can, and that's actually the point of philanthropy. Is look, we'd all like to be able to dedicate a school. We'd all like to be able to, you know, give millions of dollars, but very few people can do that. So you do what you can. And that's what's cool about an event like ours, is that it's actually the community pitching in $100, $150 at a time by tickets, and that collectively has put 80 students into Eastman. You know, each year we do about 25 scholarships, and that's a pretty good dent for, and it's from all of us. It's not the Belasco family, it's everybody who comes to the concert and contributes. So the point is, do what you can where you can, and even if you help one student, it's great.
Amazing stuff. David, thanks so much again.
Sure.
Thank you. What's the date?
July 22nd,
right.
Cranberry Pond. Go to www.jazzonthepond.org. We'll see you there for sure.
Right.